Right. Now I'm going to mispronounce this name, so I need some help. Pubudu Senanayake.
That's pretty close. Could be worse.
Could you help me out, please?
It's Pubudu Senanayake.
Right, okay, thank you. I was completely wrong.
Just right, yeah, no, you're right.
That was actually just very polite of you. Thank you very much.
That's right, yeah, different pitches. It's all good. All right, so I suppose I should start.
Yes, please.
So like Medelsa said, I'm Pubudu Senanayake, and I'm here today as a citizen of Christchurch rather than any part of an organization. And I suppose I'm representing myself, and I also think I'm representing what I feel is my community, whatever that might be. I feel part of Christchurch, and I love it here. So, usually we come here and say all sorts of things that you should be doing better, and I will get to that. But I want to start by thanking the council, not just this council, but the actual entire operation, for all the work you have done. And it's been a difficult time, and I think that thanks are needed. And I also want to mention that it's good to see that the commitment has been made as being part of tackling one of the biggest issues we face as a community and a species, which is climate change. And it's no secret that the science and the scientists and the experts tell us that we should be doing more. But I think you've shown a lot of courage to take at least the first steps, and for that I think you should be commended. As always, I will start with the issue of cycleways. And I think as part of the long-term plan, we shouldn't delay the completion of the cycleways. They should be done on schedule as previously planned and agreed upon, and has a mandate from the citizens, or at least at that time they had. They should not be delayed. And the figures from council's own data shows that the uptake has been decent. More people are using them, and in most cases, all the cycleways have been a relative success. But I suppose things are going okay. It isn't really that great a media headline, so there is that. Now, that's not to say that everything's great and it's perfect. There are some problems, and I think the biggest problem facing the cycleways in Christchurch is the manner that they're being implemented in. It's not the actual plan itself; it's the implementation. So I'm going to start with an example. I live near Strickland Street, and I use the Strickland Street Antigua route both for cycling and driving into the city, because I do both, like most people. And the implementation of the traffic management system there is completely subpar. For example, initially the traffic controls just wouldn't sense the bicycles, so you just wait there, and nothing would happen. And then you go over and press the button for the pedestrian crossing, and then you get across. And now the traffic controls for the cyclists are always triggered. So even if there's no cyclists there, they go off, and the cars have to wait. There's only 2 lanes, so the left turning traffic and the right turning traffic can't go. Everyone's stuck. And I'm not saying just go and fix that problem. It's just a symptom of a much wider problem of implementation. And whether it's through inadequate technology like this case, or whether it's a compromise leading to a frustratingly low quality piece of infrastructure like Senanayake Street, there are big problems there. Councillor Jones knows. So I think the thing that frustrates me, and the thing that makes it kind of unforgivable, is that these aren't unsolved problems, right? These are problems that have been solved elsewhere. The technology for traffic solutions, it's not trivial, but it's not difficult. It's been around since the 80s. So I think in assessing the successes of the proposals, whatever the proposals are, I think we should be including assessments against solved problems elsewhere, and then assess how we're doing against that. So don't reinvent something that's already done, just copy it. And we need these things because we need to transition to a low carbon future. And if we want to build resilience in the city, we need diversity in transport infrastructure as well as other infrastructure, and that's critical. And so speaking of transitioning, I just wanted to say that the idea of a just transition is vital, and because of that, personally, I'm strongly opposed to the idea of a regional fuel tax as a source of revenue. And the reason for that is that flat taxes, I believe, affect the most vulnerable and the poorest members of our communities the worst. And it's not fair or just that the most vulnerable and the poorer people bear a greater relative burden than those that are better off. So what I would say is, while it might be an effective source of revenue, it's not a just source of revenue. It should be abandoned in favor of something like a tiered approach based on the value of personal vehicles, a road user type charge. And that would also bring EVs into the fray. And let's be honest, electric vehicles aren't used by poor people at the moment. And so it doesn't make sense that those people taxed for something that they can't really help but use. In terms of infrastructure investment, the cost-benefit stuff that has been talked about, I think the impact and the benefit on the most vulnerable communities must be a standard check in all cases, not just in an economic sense, but in terms of their quality of life. And infrastructure that assists and benefits vulnerable members of the community should get higher relative prioritization. If we are to survive the thing that we face, this big problem, we have to transition to a low-carbon future. But we have to make sure that everyone comes along on the journey, because if we survive at the cost of the most vulnerable, if that's the cost that they bear, then we've failed.
Well, that was the most perfectly timed submission that I think I've heard all day.
Well, you've got to go faster and slower, depending on what's going on.
Yeah, no, look, thank you very much for your submission. It's much appreciated.
Thanks.
Thank you, and thanks for coming in on a Saturday.